So I'm so curious, as a woman, to know what the life experience is of a man. Can you explain to me what your experience is as a man?
So, what is men's life experience in 2024? Well, I'm glad you asked, but you aren't going to like what you hear because it's a reality that most women don't want to know about. In fact, they don't even want to hear about it because it would mean having to acknowledge that men have struggles, just like women do, and that in many cases, those very women are responsible for men's struggles. But since you asked, here's just a few examples of what men and boys experience on a daily basis in today's modern society. Men and boys are told on a daily basis that they are to blame not just for how society is now, but how it was 100, 200, even 2,000 years ago, and that they need to apologize for the way things are and were. That they need to admit their guilt and atone for all those prior issues, even though they had nothing to do with it. They are bashed over the head with that mindset literally from the day they are born, and it continues to the day they die without interruption. Men and boys are told that they need to be masculine, that they need to man up, but only to the point where it's acceptable to women. If they are too manly, well, then these same women will declare that these men are controlling, arrogant, abusive, or even violent. Conversely, if they're not man enough, they're mocked and ridiculed for being weak or too feminine. Oh, and how do today's women define just what is the right amount of masculinity? Well, the fact of the matter is they don't. Or if they do that definition, it's really only good for that very moment. And as soon as it doesn't suit them, well, they're going to move that goalpost. Men are told that women have to live in fear of them simply because they are men. Their mere presence is enough to scare women because they can never know if the man is good or not. Yet when men apply those very same standards to women, when men say to women, we have just as much reason to fear you as you do us, women get angry and say, it's not fair to generalize all women based on the actions of a few. Men are told that they need to open themselves up. They need to tell women just how they feel. They need to make themselves vulnerable and that it's perfectly safe to do so, only to find out, as every man has, that the minute he does, the minute he opens himself up to her, she's going to find him lesser. She may even mock him or ridicule him. She's going to run and tell anyone and everyone she knows what he had to say. And if it's something she doesn't like or something that hurts her feelings, she's going to weaponize it, make it about her, dwell on it, and shove it in his face every chance she gets for decades to come. Men are told that they get all the advantages in life, which is why special programs need to exist to help women. It's why we need to have a special focus on educational programs for women to encourage them to get more college degrees. It's why we need to give them scholarships and whatever else they need to succeed. Men, on the other hand, aren't deserving of any such consideration or help. They have privilege, and that privilege is then used to justify denying them entry into higher education, or to deny them funding like scholarships or programs that would encourage them to get a higher education. This despite the fact that women make up 60% of all college graduates. Men are told on a daily basis, and have been told for decades, that it's all men till it's no men, that they should be and are going to be judged not for who they are as a person or the actions that they do, but instead by what they are, a man. They are told that they are inherently bad simply because they happen to be born male, which is something they had absolutely no control over. Then there's dating and relationships where men have been bludgeoned over the head that they need to accept it's a new era, that women now have higher standards and men need to meet them. All while these same women go to great lengths to attack any man that has even the slightest of expectations, calling him a misogynist. Men are told that women don't need them for anything, and thus they need to do more than the bare minimum in order to deserve the attention of a woman, while at the very same time being told that their wants, their needs, their desires, whatever it is they may want to get from a relationship, is irrelevant. It's not even worthy of discussion because it's just them being narcissistic. All that while these same women continue to expect men to pay for dates and that any and every man must be a provider. He must give them whatever they want or feel they deserve, no matter how outrageous that expectation is. Men are told that they dominate the workplace and make too much money because the system works in their favor, all while being expected to work more hours and do those dangerous jobs, the ones where their health and their very lives are at risk, the ones that women don't want to do, and that they don't deserve to be paid more for doing those jobs. And if they choose not to do those jobs, well, then they're slackers, lazy, not men. Men are told every single day that their entire value to society isn't based on who they are, but how much money they make. All this while hearing on a daily basis from women that they wish men would just go away, just disappear. But don't disappear too far because, well, they also expect those men to do those dirty jobs in order to provide women with the very luxuries of life that these women so deeply cherish. Those luxuries that they won't provide for themselves. Things like food, water, shelter, electricity. The list is endless. Indeed, they demean these men who provide for them, despite the fact that pretty much everything society has been built and is maintained by men. But they're not going to be appreciated for it. Oh no, they're told that they should be ashamed. They're even vilified because, well, it's the patriarchy. Finally, men are told every single day that they aren't wanted, aren't needed, aren't necessary. Women can do anything. They don't need men. Men are told that every minute of every day, of every week, of every year of their entire life. They're told they should just shut up. That their issues, their fears, their emotions, their opinions, none of them matter. Just as they don't matter. And any man who speaks up about it, who dares to share his thoughts or feelings, who dares to show weakness of any kind, well, that makes them not a man and not worthy of caring, compassion, or any kind of consideration. What it does make them worthy of is ridicule, mocking, and embarrassment, something that men have to deal with every day. To sum it all up, it comes down to one word that describes the life experiences of all men perfectly, and that word is disposable, because that's how we're seen, as disposable. We're seen that way by governments and politicians. We're seen that way by women. We're seen that way by all of society. That is the reality. It's something that men deal with every single day for their entire life. The reality that they are indeed disposable.